Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. Here are 5 learning tips for smart adults. Maybe you're preparing for a new career, or you're wanting to build skills in your current one, or you're trying to skill up in some avocation, some hobby or outside of work interest. Some people find the traditional method, courses, time ineffective. The pacing is too slow, and or the content is too obvious. If that sounds like you, here are some alternatives. 1. Read Google search found articles and videos. That is, articles and videos you found using a Google search. You see, a Google search curates so much of the world's content to find, in order of their likely value, material on your search term. Google search creates them by considering how well a particular website scores on indices of utility, like how often that article or video has been cited or linked to. If you're a competent Google searcher, it often enables you in just a minute or two to identify a few well-selected articles that can teach you for free, when you want, concentrated digests of what you're interested in, with content that's more up to date than you'd get in most lectures in a course. Of course, a search result's quality depends on the quality of the search terms you use. Each of the following is going to improve your prospects. Use Google search's commands such as and, or, and not, and put phrases in quotation marks if you want only results using that word string in a phrase. There's a tutorial, just search Google search tutorial, you'll find it. Do a Google search on Google search. Another thing you can do to improve the quality of your search results is to pick search terms at the right level of specificity. Since this video is aimed at, quote, smart people, let's use an example that's related to intelligence. Let's say you wanted to start learning about the genetics of intelligence. So your search term might simply be intelligence genetics. And you don't have to put those in quotes because you're not necessarily looking for it as a phrase, but any website that has those two words, intelligence and genetics, close to them. If you're looking for something more specific and advanced, you might have a much more complex search term like David Hill, which you would put in quotes because that's his name. Polygenic score, which you'd put in quotes. Explained variance, which you'd put in quotes, and the word intelligence, which doesn't need quotes because it's a single word. But that would all be in your search term. When scanning the search results you get, take note of words, phrases, and acronyms in that search results. You know, there are mini descriptions right underneath when they list the website that the Google search result comes up with. Look at those mini descriptions that you could then use in a subsequent search. I should mention that usually it's time effective to just scan the first few results, certainly the first page. They are really listed in likely order of utility. For example, let's say the first few results in that previous search, that complex search I mentioned, would reveal a few uses of the acronym GWAS, GWAS. If you then search on that term, you're going to learn that GWAS refers to an important kind of study that is used in studying the genetic roots of human characteristics. So that was tip 1. Read read articles and videos that you found using a smart Google search. The second way for smart people to do learning outside of the course is to make the most of a tutor. A tutor allows individualized instruction on the content you want at the pace you need. Key, of course, is to find a tutor with the expertise, communication skills, and patience you need. Well, the good news is that tutor doesn't need to self-identify as a tutor. If you don't already know such a person, the aforementioned Google search may well identify one or more relevant experts who may be willing to tutor you, or at least for you to try one session so you both feel if you're comfortable with each other and it's worthwhile doing. Almost as important as who the tutor is the tutoring structure. It's usually assumed that the tutor is going to structure it. They'll start teaching you certain material of their choice and give you assignments of their choice. But it's usually wiser to use a more student-driven approach. You study the material on your own that your Google search has unearthed. And each time you don't understand something that's significant, you email a query to your tutor or text them, whatever. That gets you help on exactly what you need, and it gets it to you faster than if the usual weekly tutoring sessions. Of course, you might choose to supplement that just-in-time querying with regularly scheduled sessions or irregularly scheduled sessions by phone, by Skype, or as the traditional way in person. The third tip that smart people can use to do some learning outside of the standard course is to join online groups. There are online groups for thousands of interest areas. Of course, the posts on those kind of forums are not very curated. They're certainly less curated than a journal article or a Google search, but they are current, and they explore issues that, in addition to exposing you to content, provides you with a vehicle for asking questions and for contributing your ideas. In addition, it facilitates your connecting with experts and other people who share your interest. Now, usually you can find an on-target group for you on LinkedIn or on Yahoo or your professional association's website, or by doing a Google search. Like, for example, in the example I've been using, if you search on GWAS forum, up will pop a group devoted to discussing GWAS. The fourth tip that smart people can use as an alternative to courses as a way to learn is to consider attending a conference. It's often worth attending the cost of a conference, at least if it's focusing on what you're trying to learn. It may surprise you, though, that the main reason to go to a conference is not so you can attend sessions. You can usually get sufficient content just using a Google search or before a session begins, getting the session's handout. The best reason to attend a conference is so you can have one-on-ones with a number of people, including some people you might have some trouble accessing, like presenters, attendees, and exhibitors. Those one-on-ones can provide current information, allow for you to ask questions, and can start to foster relationships, which, of course, in the real world matter. The fifth tip, the final tip for a way to use methods other than a course to do your learning is to form a board of advisors. So consider forming a few-person board of advisors that meets regularly, maybe weekly or monthly for an hour, and use freeconferencecall.com, or for video conferencing, Google Hangout. Oh well. The meeting structure could be simple. A member takes the floor to share something he or she is excited about or on which she wants the group's input. And when the discussion of the issue subsides, the person then cedes the floor to someone else who wants the floor. What's the takeaway? These alternatives to courses won't work if your goal is to get credentialed, like be a psychologist, a lawyer, or a physician. But many fields do not have formal licensure requirements. Everything from nonprofit graphic artist to for-profit executive. And no matter what your field, once credentialed, you might at least supplement your continuing education courses with those what I call UU methods. And they're certainly a good way to skill up an avocation. By the way, this is a part of a series of tips for smart people. The others are 5 tips for smart people in a not-so-smart world, 5 tips for smart job seekers, 4 dating tips for smart people, and 10 tips for parents of a smart child. You can watch videos of them on this YouTube channel, my YouTube channel here, or you can read them in my column on Psychology Today. Just Google my name, Marty Nemko, and Psychology Today. Anyway, my name is Marty Nemko, and thank you for watching.